One big centre for new cities is Africa. The UN says many African countries will see their populations double in the next 30 years. I've been speaking to my first guest, who is building 7 new cities on the continent. He's the founder of the company Rendeavour, and the cities are in Nigeria, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Ghana, Zambia, as well as Tartu, just outside of Nairobi, Kenya, which is a flagship 5,000-acre site being built for more than 150,000 residents. Stephen Jennings, welcome to the programme. You're building 7 cities across Africa. How difficult is it to fund those projects with such long timelines and high amounts of risk?
Funding, as you can imagine, is a absolutely fundamental success factor. So, we started with a lot of very, very long-term capital, and we took the view, somewhat controversially at the start, that we didn't want any leverage. And that absolutely proved to be the right decision. So it meant it took a little bit longer to get momentum and to get to critical mass, but it meant that financially we've been very robust.
So it's investors who are in it for the long term?
Yeah, very wealthy private investors and family investors who can actually take a 50-year view on the projects. So people who are really committed to go the distance and build a very big long-term Pan-African platform.
How excited are you about Tartu?
You can probably tell from my face, extremely. Yeah, I think our whole team and our shareholders are extremely excited about the whole platform because we can see the impact we're having. When I go to work and I see tens of thousands of people marching into their formal jobs, properly paying jobs, skilled, semi-skilled, highly skilled, and I see those numbers going up month by month, it's hugely gratifying.
How many businesses do you need to make Tartu sustainable?
Yeah, I probably don't think of it in terms of number of businesses, but at Tartu City we have close to 100 large businesses, many leading regional, local and large multinationals. Tartu City is probably the largest project of any kind in Kenya now. So about 3 billion of investment, 50,000 new jobs. So it's been self-sustaining for a long time, highly cash generative. That project, we have 5,000 students come into our schools every day, thousands of apartments. We have events where we have tens of thousands of visitors. And I think what Tartu proves is if you can create a normal operating environment in Africa in terms of governance and infrastructure and amenities, you very quickly capitalise a large amount of investment and a very large amount of job creation. So it kind of demonstrates Africa's full potential.
What model works best in which cities between public and private cooperation?
Cities always involve this complex and dynamic interaction between government and private sector. Normally, because governments have the ability to tax and write rules and regulations, governments run cities. But in Africa, we have huge government failure around lack of planning, very poor quality controls, and infrastructure that's completely overwhelmed and increasingly overwhelmed. And that creates the space for private city operators such as ourselves to play a bigger role than they might do in other environments.
How do you ensure there is one key ingredient when you're building your cities, water supply? How do you go about ensuring that exists?
You've obviously got some Africa background asking that question. Yeah, as you know, Mark, many African cities have regular disruption in water supply. Water quality is an issue. In fact, many water municipalities are actually water cartels. So we decided a long time ago that we would build and operate our own vertically integrated, regulated water utilities. So that entails water supply, water treatment, water reticulation and wastewater treatment. So in Kenya today, we are one of the very few places that we have high quality, reliable water 24/7, as we do in our other cities in Nigeria and Ghana. And the interesting thing is our water treatment plant was built by our in-house Kenyan team in under 6 months and within budget. And it just shows that once you have good governance and good management, issues that sometimes seem quite intractable can be solved relatively quickly.
How do you avoid making your cities too tech smart for their own good?
Yeah, it's another very good question, because you can imagine when you're building a greenfield, large new city, it's easy to be tempted to become utopian or to follow, the latest tech fads. And as self-funding private cities, we have to be very careful that the technology we deploy and the development concepts we use are the ones that our clients and our residents want and that they're prepared to pay for. So in some areas like environmental regeneration, walkability, livability, we're very radical. In other areas like transport systems, we're definitely not going to experiment with transport robotics or self-driving cars. Instead, we'll have a more human-centric planning model with a transport hierarchy that focuses on people, walkability, greenways, making the cycleways accessible, getting people off the road, decongesting. So, yeah, it's definitely a trap that you need to be aware of.
Are you glad you've chosen Africa as a site for your cities?
Again, I can't fake it. Yeah, we're delighted. We're in some of the fastest growing countries in the world. Africa's experiencing the fastest urbanization in human history, and there's a huge demand for high quality, large scale urban infrastructure. So yeah, delighted.
Stephen Jennings, thanks very much for coming on the show.
Thank you, Mark.